They thought they could break her, a young girl just trying to find her place in a world that didn't want to accept her. But they underestimated the power of resilience. Maya Carter wasn't just any teenager. They didn't know her father. When Officer Todd Wallace humiliated Maya at school, he made a mistake he would regret. He thought he could push her around, belittle her. What he didn't realize was that her father, Colonel Daniel Carter, wasn't just any man. He had spent years in the most elite military unit in the world, a man who specialized in making enemies disappear without a trace. Now, with his daughter targeted, he was about to bring a storm down on those who thought they were untouchable. What followed was not just about justice. It was a surgical dismantling of the corrupt system that tried to break Maya. In a town where the line between right and wrong had been blurred, one father was about to show everyone what happens when you mess with his family. Welcome to Acts of Kindness Stories, where resilience meets justice. Maya Carter's life was anything but ordinary. She wasn't just another student at Jefferson High, and her father wasn't just another military man. Colonel Daniel Carter had devoted over 2 decades of his life to Delta Force, one of the most elite and secretive units in the world. His skills weren't something you could easily measure or replicate. They had been honed in countless dangerous situations that required precision, strategy, and a cold, calculated sense of justice. But for all his training, nothing prepared him for the one thing that could truly break him. His daughter being bullied in the very place she should have felt safe. The morning started like any other. Maya woke up to the sound of her alarm, silencing it with a practiced hand. Her routine smooth and familiar. Her room was filled with reminders of her family, pictures, awards, and a few military mementos that spoke of her father's career. As Maya grabbed her phone to check for messages, one notification caught her eye. A voice message from her dad. Her heart lifted slightly as she pressed play. His voice filled the room, deep and reassuring. "Morning, sunshine. I'm in a different time zone, can't sleep, so I thought I'd check in. Remember your debate today, kid. Stay calm, speak clearly, and never let them see you sweat. I know you'll do great. I can't be there, but this mission, well, you know how it goes. Make me proud, kiddo. I love you." Maya smiled as the sadness in her eyes reflected the reality of her father's constant deployments. Though he always tried to stay in touch, this time it felt different. No location, no timeline, just words like classified and important. As she readied herself for school, her mother, Lisa, a nurse at the local hospital, asked if Maya needed a ride. But Maya, independent as ever, declined. She preferred the walk to school to clear her mind, especially since she had a debate that day. The walk to Jefferson High was peaceful, the air crisp but not cold, and Maya used it to mentally prepare for the debate ahead. The topic was something she had grown passionate about: the modern civil rights movement. Living in a predominantly white town, she had experienced her share of prejudice, and this was her chance to speak out, to stand up for what she believed was right. But as she neared the entrance of the school, the calm of the morning shattered. Ethan Wallace, a student she'd had more than her fair share of run-ins with, was standing near the entrance. His usual entourage of followers laughing loudly at something he had said. Maya tried to walk past unnoticed, but Ethan's voice carried, boasting about his uncle. "I'm telling you, my uncle runs this town. Dad says he's got more pull than the mayor. Last week, he pulled over a guy from the east side, and when the guy tried to complain, Uncle Todd just laughed and gave him another ticket." The words stung, each one highlighting the abuse of power that Maya had been subjected to. Ethan's uncle, Officer Todd Wallace, had a reputation in their town. He wasn't just a cop. He was untouchable. Maya didn't respond, but the frustration was building. She moved on, focusing on her goal, the debate. When the debate began, Maya stood with confidence, despite her nerves. She argued for police reform, calling for increased oversight. Her words were calm but powerful, and she could feel the room's attention on her as she finished her statement. Ethan's rebuttal, on the other hand, was filled with the same misguided respect for authority that Maya had learned to challenge over the years. "The police are the thin blue line protecting us from chaos," Ethan said, his voice rising. Maybe if certain communities showed more respect for authority, there wouldn't be problems in the first place. Maya's team had proven their point, but Ethan wasn't done yet. As students filed out, Maya could feel his glare burning into her back. At her locker, Ethan approached with a smug smile. "You had no right bringing my uncle into this," he hissed, leaning in close. "You made me look like an idiot." Maya's response was calm, but her voice didn't waver. "You did that yourself." Ethan grabbed her wrist, pulling her back. Without thinking, her training took over. She twisted and used his momentum to bring him to the ground in a fluid motion, an instinctive defense move her father had taught her. As Ethan lay on the floor, gasping for breath, Maya froze, realizing what she had done. She hadn't meant to hurt him, but it was too late to take back the action. Ethan scrambled to his feet, humiliated and furious. "You're crazy," he sputtered as Maya walked away, her heart pounding in her chest. That afternoon, Ethan stormed into his house, slamming the door behind him. His uncle, Todd Wallace, was sitting in the living room, still in his police uniform, watching TV. When Ethan recounted what had happened, Todd's expression darkened. "Carter's kid, huh?" Todd muttered, his mind working through the implications. With one quick message, the wheels of intimidation began turning. Ethan's confrontation with Maya had become a weapon, one that would be used to send a clear message. One way or another she would pay. Maya had no idea that on the same day, while she was walking home from school, the storm was already coming for her. She was just a few blocks from home when a police cruiser slowed beside her. Todd and Jake Miller, his partner, were inside. Todd's smile was cold, his eyes gleaming with malice. "We need to talk about what happened at school today," Todd said, his tone falsely pleasant. As the officers stepped out of the car, Maya's heart raced. "I was defending myself," Maya said firmly. She wasn't going to let them intimidate her. Jake, who had been quietly observing, snorted. "That's not what we heard. Sounds like you assaulted that kid for no reason." "I didn't," Maya protested, but Todd stepped closer, his voice dropping low, his words laced with menace. "I think you should apologize to Ethan. Keep this from becoming a bigger issue." Maya stood her ground. "I won't apologize for defending myself." Without warning, Todd grabbed her arm and shoved her against the car. The humiliation of it stung, but she refused to show it. As Todd leaned in closer, whispering threats in her ear, she remained silent. The grip of fear was taking hold, but she wasn't going to let him see it. In the days that followed, Maya's life became a living nightmare. Todd's intimidation didn't stop at just threats. He escalated. Maya's locker was defaced, slurs painted on the walls. Rumors spread about her being violent, about her supposed juvenile record. She couldn't escape it. She couldn't go anywhere without feeling the weight of eyes on her, whispering about her family, about her father. But Maya wasn't about to let it break her. With her father on a classified mission, she couldn't reach out for help. But she wasn't alone. Her mother stood by her side, but even she understood the need to wait. Maya's silence, however, wasn't an agreement. It was a choice. Choice not to back down. The Carter family didn't bow to bullies. They were fighters. Maya's father had spent years making enemies disappear without a trace. But this time it wasn't about just disappearing. The battle was just beginning. At school, Todd's presence grew more oppressive. He parked his cruiser outside, watching her every move. He even went so far as to publicly humiliate her in front of her classmates, pouring water over her head, as if to break her spirit. The image of him standing there, smirking as she stood drenched and humiliated, was the last straw. Maya stood tall, anger and fear swirling inside her, but she kept herself composed. She would not give him the satisfaction. With the support of her mother, Maya made a decision. This had to end. She couldn't wait for her father to return. She would start documenting everything, every threat, every instance of intimidation. She wasn't going to be silenced. The storm had arrived, and it was time for Maya to show them what she was truly made of. The aftermath of Todd Wallace's actions sent shockwaves through Jefferson. What began as an attempt to break Maya Carter had transformed into something much bigger. It was no longer just about one girl and one corrupt cop. It was about a community coming together to fight for justice, to stand up for what's right, even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you. Maya's courage in the face of threats, her refusal to back down, sparked a chain reaction that no one could have predicted. The town of Jefferson was never the same. The ripple effect from Maya's bravery reached far beyond the school and the police department. It reached the hearts of everyone who had been silenced by fear. People came forward with their own stories, victims of a system that had failed them for too long. They found their voice because Maya had found hers. Her testimony was the turning point. It wasn't just a story of personal triumph. It was a message to the world that even in the darkest of times, one voice could ignite change. As Maya stepped off that witness stand, the room fell silent, but the message echoed through the streets. Justice was served, and the face of corruption was exposed. But for Maya, this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. With her father by her side, she became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that no matter the obstacles, standing up to injustice is always worth it. In the weeks that followed, the town began to heal. New leadership was put in place. Reforms were set into motion. Maya's journey didn't just change her, it changed an entire community. And though it started with a father protecting his daughter, it became a fight for everyone who had ever been made to feel powerless. Maya's story is a testament to the strength that lies within us all. It's a reminder that standing up against corruption and injustice isn't just about fighting back. It's about inspiring others to do the same. If Maya's story moved you, if it made you believe in the power of standing up for what's right, then hit that like button, share this video with those who need to hear it, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Let's continue spreading the message of courage and justice. And don't forget to subscribe to Acts of Kindness Stories. We're aiming for 10,000 subscribers, and we need your support. Together we can keep sharing stories that inspire, uplift, and remind us all that the fight for justice is never over.